I believe that the world of motorcycles has some of the most incredible road records ever accomplished. Not only because they are a testament to what the human body is capable of, but also because of the engineering behind these incredible machines that make it possible to push the barriers of what we think is possible. That's why in this video, I'll be going over everything from the craziest jumps, crashes, and stuff that even you seasoned riders may have never seen or heard about. So without taking up any more time, let's just get right into it. Up first is the world record for the fastest speed on a motorcycle. This is perhaps one of the most highly contested records ever, simply because of the natural human instinct to determine who can go the fastest. But due to the nature of riding at extreme speeds, the margin for error is incredibly thin. Now you might think the fastest speed ever was achieved by a Hayabusa or maybe an H2R, and while those are among the fastest street legal bikes, officially clocking speeds of over 150 miles per hour or 400 kilometers for you non-Americans, there's also the MTT 420RR. This beast boasts an impressive 420 horsepower, nice, and a literal jet engine. With a theoretical top speed of 273 miles per hour. However, as far as I know, nobody has actually hit that speed on the 420RR, and even if they did, they would still be far away from the world record for motorcycles. And that is because regardless of horsepower, all production bikes have one major factor holding them back: air resistance. And this is why the bike that holds the current world record looks more like your mom's dildo than a typical motorcycle.
Hey yo!
And on the inside, it looks closer to a Formula 1 car. This absolute rocket ship of a motorcycle is powered by two turbocharged Hayabusa engines, running 30 psi of boost and producing anywhere from 700 to 900 horsepower. This world record was set at the Bonneville Salt Flats in 2010 by Rocky Robinson, who reached a mind-boggling 376 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, he was traveling about 1 mile every 10 seconds. Surprisingly, there haven't been very many notable attempts to break this record in recent years, largely due to the extreme risks, money, and technological challenges involved. And pushing the limit of speed doesn't always end in glory like you'd expect. And I know you're probably wondering right now, what would happen if somebody crashed at a speed like that? Which brings us to the next world record, the world's fastest survived motorcycle crash. The official record for this brings us back to the Bonneville Salt Flats, but this time in 2008, where Jason McVeigh was having what he would call a typical day, just being a chill guy and reaching speeds of over 250 miles per hour on his turbocharged Hayabusa, which boasted an incredible 732 horsepower. Everything seemed to be going smoothly as Jason started his third run for the day, but then about 3 miles into his run, things took an unexpected turn for the worst. He suddenly felt a vibration coming from the back of his bike, which was later discovered to be caused by the tread coming off his tire due to excessive wheel spin. This was later traced back to some debris that were left on the course from a car that previously had blown an engine. The debris caused a cut in the tire, leading Jason to lose control of the bike and be violently thrown off to the right side at a staggering 244 miles per hour. Jason landed on his head and tumbled for 1,600 feet, with his bike getting violently thrashed and spun around along beside him until they finally both came to a stop. When paramedics arrived at the scene, they were amazed to find that Jason was alive, and he was immediately taken to the hospital, where he was treated for a broken kneecap and friction burns from sliding across the salt flats. Remarkably, he was released from the hospital the same day that he came in, and Jason credits his survival to the protection provided by his leathers and helmet. Although it's not a world record, there is another very notable high-speed crash that I cannot just leave out of this video, and that would be Chris Matheson's 2013 crash at the Sydney Dragway. This bike was not designed for top speed, but rather for acceleration. Despite that, these drag bikes are incredibly fast, including Chris's, which was pushing 50 pounds of boost and producing up to 1,500 horsepower. And obviously when you're pushing that much power, you can easily blow past 200 miles per hour, doing so in just an eighth of a mile in 3.8 seconds. On this particular run, however, Chris was competing in a quarter-mile race, where he typically reaches speeds around 230 miles per hour in just 6 seconds. But there was a problem with the track that Chris was racing on. It wasn't perfectly level. As a result, when you get towards the braking zone, there's a slight bump. It might not be very noticeable on camera, but when you're going over 200 miles per hour, you can definitely feel it. Chris had a great start and overall successful run until he went to reach for the brake with his left hand at just the wrong moment. As he lifted his fingers, he hit the bump, causing his hand to lift just a little bit too much. The wind ripped his hand off the handlebar, and at that point, there was nothing he could do to fight the wind resistance, and he was thrown off the bike at an estimated 230 miles per hour. And I gotta say, it is absolutely crazy to see his leathers smoking as he slides down the track at that speed. Although he did sustain some injuries, he was able to get up from the crash himself and make his way to the hospital. Now, before I cover perhaps the most contested and highest risk world record that riders have been attempting for the past 50 years, I just wanted to give you guys a little break with some honorable mentions of some more lighthearted, fun world records. Starting with the most people on a motorcycle. Now, I know you've all probably seen videos from India where people are carrying their whole family and sometimes even a cow on the back of their motorcycle, so it's really no surprise that India holds the official world record for this, carrying 58 people on this crazy contraption of a motorcycle for about 4,000 feet. However, I do have a slight gripe with this record, and that is that it's a highly modified bike with a platform to stand on. Which brings me to this video that was randomly recommended to me. It's 10 people on one normal bike. But they don't just stop at riding it, the driver is also constantly popping wheelies. I don't really know what country this was filmed in aside from knowing it's somewhere in the Middle East based on the filmer yelling mashallah the whole time. And I don't have any other details about this other than what you're seeing right now. But what I can say for sure is I definitely wouldn't want to be one of the guys sitting on the back of that thing. Our next honorable mention is for the world's smallest motorcycle called the Small-Toe, designed by Tom Weberg from Sweden. And this thing looks like it came straight out of a cartoon, measuring only 2.5 inches tall and weighing 2.4 pounds. You could literally fit this thing in your pocket, and it goes at a top speed of 1.4 miles per hour, powered by its 1.3 horsepower engine. I'm honestly not sure what's more impressive, the size or the fact that someone can actually ride this thing. And for our last honorable mention, naturally, following the world's smallest bike, we gotta cover the world's biggest bike, which stands at 17 feet tall, about the size of a fully grown male giraffe. Now, to be fair, it's very far removed from any regular motorcycle. You would need to be a literal giant to even reach the handlebars. And instead of steering like you would on a regular motorcycle, it's done with hydraulics. And it also has these training wheels on it, which makes you question if it's really even a true motorcycle because it has more than 2 wheels. You can't really do anything on it that you could do on a regular bike, and it's really more of a big parade flow. But regardless, you cannot dismiss the commitment and effort it took to build this beast. And for the last world record I'll be covering in this video, it's the world's longest jump on a motorcycle. But before I dive into the current world record, let me give you a brief history on motorcycle jumps. Because in my opinion, in many ways, the early stuff is even more impressive than the jumps of today. Which obviously all started with the great pioneer of jumping far on a motorcycle, Evel Knievel. He's essentially the Tony Hawk of motorcycle jumps and was a major contributor to bringing it to the mainstream. Although Knievel had many famous jumps and perhaps even more famous crashes, such as the infamous Caesar Palace jump where he broke over 40 bones and was in a coma for 30 days, he was the first to set an official world record for the furthest jump on a motorcycle at 129 feet, which he accomplished by jumping 19 cars, on of all bikes, a Harley Davidson. More specifically, the XR750, which was designed for dirt track racing, and this bike had just 5 inches of suspension travel in the front and only 2 inches in the rear. To say that it was rough on landings would be an understatement. Just for comparison, modern dirt bikes have typically around 12 inches of travel in both front and rear, in addition to advanced dampening technology that is light years ahead of what they had in the 70s. And on top of that, Knievel's helmet looks more like a child's astronaut helmet than something that was designed to prevent brain injuries. It also looks like he has no body armor under his iconic suit, which explains why he broke over 433 bones throughout his career. Fun fact, the human body has 206 bones, so Evel Knievel broke more than twice the amount of bones than he had in his body. A few months after his jump over 19 cars, he landed a jump at 133 feet by jumping over 14 buses in 1975, setting a record that would stand for 27 years. And that wasn't for the lack of trying. Many people attempted to break the record, but ended up seriously injured or even died from their attempts. If I were to cover all that, it could be an entirely different video on its own. Now, moving to present day, our advancements in technology has perhaps helped us more than anything else could. The current official world record for the longest jump on a motorcycle sits at 425 feet, which was landed by 19-year-old Alex Harville in 2012. It's crazy to think that it's almost 300 feet longer than Evel Knievel's longest jump. But even crazier is the GoPro footage from this jump, which gives you a perspective on what it feels to fly that far. But despite all of the advancements in technology that helped us achieve this, the risk of a jump of this caliber cannot be underestimated. And when you're jumping such a great distance, even the slightest gust of wind can send you too far or too short. In 2021, when Alex was attempting to set a new world record, the worst case scenario that could happen happened. He landed too short, and he hit the knuckle of the jump, which sent him flying off his bike and ultimately ending his life. The exact reason for the crash is unknown. It could have been a gust of wind or his bike not going fast enough, but many people online speculate that it was the calculations of the ramp that were wrong and caused the fatal accident. Tragically, this incident serves as a sobering reminder of just how dangerous these stunts can be, even for the most experienced riders. Alex Harville was known for his meticulous preparation and incredible skill, but in the world of extreme sports, even the smallest miscalculation can have devastating consequences. His passing left a void in the motocross community, with fans and fellow riders mourning the loss of a true pioneer. While his accident sparked debates about safety protocols and risk management in extreme sports, it also cemented his legacy as someone who continually pushed the boundaries of what we thought was possible. As for now, that is all I have. If you guys want to check out the full videos, I'll link them down in the description down below. And if you think I should have included some other world records in here, leave them in the comments down below, and I might use it in a future video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.